By mistake, I clicked to use computer audio, but I think I'm not supposed to use that. Is that correct? It's okay? It's okay? Okay. Okay, for this session, then, we could start by taking any questions about the basic practice of mindfulness of death. Wow. Okay, we have a question.
Bandy, thank you for your teaching. I enjoy your class. And my question is about mindfulness. Different authors have different definitions of mindfulness.
Yeah.
So could you share your understanding of mindfulness with us?
No. Sorry, but the question should be relevant to the topic of
mindfulness of
death.
death.
That takes us into a different area.
Mindfulness of death. Okay, so you in the morning you have in the Dharma talk you have say a lot of you say a lot of things when we die, a lot of things we will leave a lot of things, including our personal achievements and just karma with us.
Yeah.
So I think, so in my mind, I think everything is meaningless.
Everything is
meaningless.
Meaningless.
Yeah, don't you think so? If you think, when we died, well, you say death will definitely certain. So we will die one day. So why we work very hard and blah, 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 and build a personal reputation or whatever, personal achievements, blah, blah, blah. Everything is meaningless, right?
It doesn't mean that everything is meaningless, but let us say that when you do the meditation on death, it helps you learn to distinguish what is truly meaningful and beneficial in our life and what is, in a way, meaningless or worthless, unworthy of pursuit. So things that I would say are meaningful would be practices that we do to help others, to benefit others, the kindness, the compassion we show to others, various ways we benefit others, and also the quest for the good qualities that we try to achieve and develop in ourselves. That is what gives meaning to life. And things like, in fact, the Buddha doesn't really reject pursuing things like wealth, fame, or good reputation, status, as long as it's done in an ethical way and you're not sort of grasping after those things and using them to boost your sense of ego. Yeah, there's a sutta where the Buddha, let me see if I could find it quickly. The Buddha is speaking to Anathapindika, who is a householder and a businessman. He wasn't a renunciant, not a monk, but a businessman. And he says that this is called the lay person's proper practice. No, it's not this one. Yeah, he says, he's speaking to Anathapindika, he says that there are 4 things that are desired in the world. And one is the desire for wealth, but you have to think may I acquire wealth righteously. So if you're living in the world, you need wealth to get along and to have some enjoyment in life, but you have to pursue that wealth righteously in accordance with following ethical conduct.
Excuse me.
Wait, let me just continue. Okay, then the second thing that's desired is fame. One wants fame for oneself and also good reputation for your relatives and your family. The third thing that one wants is to have a long lifespan. And then the fourth is that one has a wish to be reborn in a good destination. So this is for those who are not ready for Nibbana, for complete liberation, so they aspire for rebirth in a good destination, either back into the human world under good circumstances or in the heavenly world. So the Buddha says these are the four things that are wished for, desired, agreeable, and rarely gained in the world. And then he says that there are four other things that lead to obtaining these four things. So what are those four things? Achievement of faith, good behavior, generosity, and wisdom. So those are things that certainly will give you a good reputation in the world, and they'll lead to acquiring fame. And according to the Buddhist understanding, those things contribute to acquiring a long lifespan, if not in this life, then in other lives, and to a heavenly rebirth.
Can I understand it in this way? I want. Can I relate it this what you said and to eightfold paths: right intention, right speech, and right mindfulness, something like that. Is that okay? To relate it to what you said just now to your book, eight paths,
Noble Eightfold Path.
Yeah, Noble Eight Paths.
Yeah, though strictly speaking, you mean what I said just now? The Noble Eightfold Path is really the path to liberation, whereas these are teachings that lead to, for the most part, to well-being and happiness in this world and in future lives. But there's some correspondence between these factors and the Noble Eightfold Path, but not complete agreement.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bandy. And also I remember that in Qingming ceremony, you have made a speech, talk about rebirth. You just said, don't worry about that. You just change another physical form. You also mentioned the rebirth. I remember that in Qingming ceremony.
I said, don't worry about.
No, just this is my interpretation. I think it's my interpretation that you are not afraid of death. We are not afraid of death.
I myself.
No. We are not afraid of death because you made a speech to the people have lost their relatives, close relatives.
Yeah, I don't remember saying anything about not being afraid of death.
Oh, okay. Later, if I have found it, I can.
Maybe what I said, I think, is that from the Buddha's point of view, death doesn't mean the complete end to existence,
reverse.
But the stream of consciousness continues on a new form.
Yeah.
Probably that's what I said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think Yanni has.
One day about the mindfulness of death, right? Well, I have a friend that is, in the deathbed because of cancer. And I'm just curious, if it were me, is there any specific sutta that Bhante can, advise? I mean, like, what kind of sutta should I recite again and again to avoid that painful? Because of, I see how painful it is in the deathbed.
Wait, I didn't catch the last.
How painful she is in the deathbed.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that she's very suffering, so she needs to be injected with a lot of narcotics. Yeah. And I put myself in her position. If I were there, is there any way that I can coping better with the death?
To help
No,
To,
to help, yeah, to help myself, to help my
to help
friend.
your friend?
Yeah. So is there any specific sutta that probably will be helpful or?
Is your friend a practicing Buddhist?
Yes, actually, like she was diagnosed 3 years ago, and then she got deeper into meditation. Before, it's not really.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
Well, for the information, she passed away 2 days ago, but I was there like before. She passed away when I
she
was
passed
here.
away.
He just passed away. I just learned this morning.
She passed away 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you're just asking in a general way.
Yeah. So if
So
it were
not to use specifically for that friend.
because it's already. I'm glad that it's already over for her.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I could think of two suttas offhand. Actually, both of them are spoken to Venerable Sariputta. I'm sorry, both of them are spoken by Venerable Sariputta to Anathapindika. Okay. One of them is in the Majjhima Nikaya. This is number, I think it's 143. But if you look in the index of the middle length discourses, it will be somewhere around there, 140, probably 143. It's Sariputta speaking to, I think it's called the Advice to Anathapindika. That might be the name of it. And this is when Anathapindika is on his deathbed, and Sariputta goes to visit him and says, I hope you are doing well. I hope you're not feeling any pain. And then Anathapindika says, man, am I feeling pain? He says, it's incredible, unbelievable, intolerable. It's like my head is being like somebody has a chisel in one hand and a hammer in the other and is pounding on the chisel. And then Sariputta gives him some advice on how to give up the attachment to first to the six physical sense faculties, then to give up attachment to the six sense objects, then to give up attachment to the six kinds of consciousness, and then give up attachment to anything in the world. And then when Venerable Sariputta comes to the end of that discourse, then Anathapindika is weeping. And then Sariputta says, I hope you're not you're crying because you're so overwhelmed by pain. And Anathapindika says, it's not that I'm so overwhelmed by pain, but in all of my years of attending upon the Buddha, I've never heard such a profound discourse before. Yeah, and then a day or two later, Anathapindika passes away.
But basically, just let go. Basically, just let go, right?
Yeah,
Letting
it's
go.
basically about giving up attachment to all the sense faculties and sense objects. Then there's another sutta also spoken, I think, by Sariputta, or maybe it's Ananda to Anathapindika. It's in the I think it's in the Sottapatti Samyutta. Let me see if I could, again, find it quickly. Oh, it's a little bit hard to do now. Anyway,
I can follow up with Bante later. Okay.
and yeah, but I know the number of it. I could see the number. But to search, I was going to search for Anathapindika, but then there are so many suttas who say then the Buddha was dwelling at Anathapindika's park. So it's hard to get to it very quickly, but let me just find the number. Okay, it's connected discourses, Samyutta Nikaya, chapter 55. It could be either number 26 or 27. So in that sutta, Sariputta, or maybe it's Ananda, reminds Anathapindika that he has right view, the 8 factors of the Noble Eightfold Path, that he has right view, right intention, right speech, and so on. And then Anathapindika feels happy because of that, and this time he recovers from the illness.
Is there any particular parita that you can just like play it again and again, Bante? Particular parita, like for example, Iti Piso Bhagawa.
Particular Parita Sutta.
Yeah. Just curious.
Okay, the ones that are recited, one that's very, very popular when somebody is seriously ill is the Girimananda Sutta. This is in the Anguttara Nikaya. It's Book of Tens. It could be number 60, 61, something like that.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah, so that's very popular. And then another one is in the Samyutta Nikaya. It's the Bojjhanga. It's in the Bojjhanga Samyutta. There's suttas when Mahakassapa was ill, the Buddha came and recited the 7 factors of enlightenment to him. And then when the Buddha was ill, another monk came and recited the 7 enlightenment factors, and the Buddha recovered.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, Belinda?
Bante, can you elaborate on the 10th point?
The 10th point in the... Yeah, I don't know that to elaborate then gets into a big theoretical discussion. So this is, in a way, it's just, for this point, it's being used as a way of reflecting on death, that according to the Buddhist theory of rebirth, what happens, okay, so the stream of consciousness occurs on the basis of a physical organism. And during the course of life, our life now, the stream of consciousness is occurring on the basis of this physical organism. When death takes place, this body, the life force is extinguished, so it's no longer able to serve as a support for the stream of consciousness. But the stream of consciousness, as I said, doesn't come to an end, but it will continue on and sort of grasp onto or settle into another physical organism, which is actually an organism coming into being at the moment of sometime in the process. I don't know whether it's a moment of conception or some time during the process of fetal development. We don't know for sure. But at some point, to start the new individual life, the consciousness settles in there, and then it will continue to develop on the basis of the new physical organism. And so what that stream of consciousness brings along with it are the karmic potentials that we create in the course of our life. That is, we perform numerous ethically significant deeds, either unwholesome or wholesome, could be bodily, verbal, or purely mental deeds. And those deeds have the capacity to produce results that correspond to the nature of the action. But here we're not concerned with the results, but just that those karmic potentials are carried along by the stream of consciousness. And also, what I would say are the personality dispositions, the proclivities, sort of interests, inclinations. So, somebody like, to take an example, like a young boy, maybe, say, in a Buddhist country, maybe he has 3 or 4 brothers and they all pass by a Buddhist monastery, but one boy thinks, I want to become a monk, I want to become a monk. But the other brothers think becoming a monk, no, I don't want that. So maybe the reason is that particular boy in a previous life had been maybe a monk or had a strong affiliation with Buddhism, while his brothers didn't have that connection. So that sort of that interest, that inclination is something brought along from another life. We take example, Mozart, age of 5, he's composing sonatas. Teenage years, he's famous throughout Europe, creates the most spectacular, beautiful music. So where is that coming from, all of that ability? You could say maybe it's some configuration of the brain, but from a Buddhist point of view, I think he must have been one of the heavenly musicians who has come down into a human life. And somebody, like there was some boy in Europe in the 18th century, something like that, at the age of 10, he had mastered like 12 languages, Latin, Greek, of course, French, Spanish, Italian, Persian. So where do those abilities come from? So we would say that these are tendencies coming from a previous life.
Is this in the canon?
Excuse
Is this
me?
in the suttas?
Certainly the carrying of karma is in the suttas. The idea of carrying these dispositions along, I don't really know.
Where does one find the karmic potentials in the suttas?
I'm trying to think if there's a good... Of course, there are a number of suttas which speak about the working of karma. I know 2 are in the Majjhima Nikaya. Let me see if I can remember the numbers. Okay, one is called the shorter analysis of karma. The other is called the longer analysis of karma. Well, my memory is getting bad. What number is it? Okay, it's in the Vibhanga, yeah. 41, 42, 43. Probably someplace in the 140s in the Majjhima Nikaya. And the first one, the shorter analysis of karma, it's a little simplistic, so don't take it too literally, but it's sort of like indicating in very simplified, general ways the working of karma. But there are other suttas which treat it in more sophisticated ways. Like there's a fairly large number scattered in the Anguttara Nikaya. If you get my translation, the numerical discourses of the Buddha, and then you look in the index, then you'll get numerous references at individual suttas, because they're scattered throughout. Okay, we just have time. We'll take one more question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante. I think we all got a big dose of the first 2 factors of the stream entering the last 3-4 days. I have just a quick question for clarification. the karmic potentials, is that the same thing as the Sankara and the second link of Paticca Samuppada?
Yeah, I would say that's the case, yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, see, Gita, if it's a short, simple question, you could.
Thanks, Bhante, for teaching all of us. It's a short, simple question. If one is dying, because we've been doing Marananusati
You
now.
have to put,
We've been doing Marananusati this afternoon. So if one is dying, isn't it, is there a sutta where it says, Buddha says, if you don't understand the Dharma deeply, like Paticca Samuppada or 7 factors of enlightenment, or even not a deep understanding of the Four Noble Truths, couldn't one just go to refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha at the moment of death and think about Buddhanusati that will bring them
and think
into
about,
Buddhanusati, like
yeah,
Itibiso, that will bring them to at least a good rebirth
I would say so,
where
yeah.
they can practice the Dhamma. That's it. Thank you, Bhante.
Of course, there's always complex interplays of karma. So if you've been a thief, a cheat, an adulterer, a swindler, and then you, I think this goes on in Sri Lanka, a crooked businessman who's at least nominally a Buddhist, he thinks, okay, I could cheat, swindle others, conduct all sorts of dishonest business, and then just when I'm about to enter the death process, I just go Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, and then I'm there, catapulted up to the heavenly world. You have to, yeah, okay. Okay, so now we're going to settle into our practice again. Okay, so first, in the first part, this session will be divided into 2 parts. The first part, we review the 10 points in the meditation on death. And then the last part will be the special mode of practice that I mentioned in the morning. Okay, so we always helpful to begin the meditation on death with this short statement in the Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Sevens, that the meditation on death, I think it's actually literally the perception of death, when developed and cultivated, is of great fruit and benefit, culminating in the deathless, with the deathless as its consummation. Okay, then we go to the first point, that death is absolutely certain, and not just death in the abstract, but it's my death is absolutely certain. Absolutely certain that I will die, that I cannot escape death. That is the destiny written into the very texture of my biology. And we can confirm this by reflecting that everyone who has lived in the past has died. You can let your mind roam back to the first, maybe the cave dwellers, all the ways through the ancient period, medieval period, the European Renaissance, all of the centuries, right up to, for most of us, our grandparents and certainly our great-grandparents' generation. All are gone. And when that's the case, I too can't escape that fate. Those in the next generation or 2 or 3 generations down will look back and realize that I have died. Okay, the next point is that death comes along with birth. So once I am born, then it's absolutely certain that death is my destiny. And we could even say that death accompanies me from the moment of my birth. It's right there by my side, behind me, just out of view. The next point is that every moment I am moving closer to death. Every second, every heartbeat brings me closer to death. Okay, so with these reflections, we can confirm that death is absolutely certain, inescapable, unavoidable, my death, that I must die. That's my destiny. The second major theme, the arrival of death, is utterly uncertain, unpredictable, unforeseeable. I cannot know in advance when I will die. I don't know how much more time I have for my life. Even if you're young, you don't know whether it will be 60 years, 40 years, 10 years, or even tomorrow. We don't know. We just don't know what day we will die. And then the arrival of death is uncertain with regard to the place. We don't know where we will be when death comes to take me. And then the arrival of death is absolutely uncertain with regard to the cause. We don't know how we will die, whether it will be some terrible illness, an extremely painful cancer, heart attack, stroke, some organ failure, automobile accident, some climate disaster, flooding or fires, gun violence, so many causes of death, and we don't know what, what it will be for us. And then death, when death comes, we have to abandon everything. We must abandon all of our wealth and possessions. We must abandon, leave behind all of our loved ones, or death might take them away, leaving us behind, still in this world. And then we must abandon our bodies and the personal identity that's built up on the basis of this body. So when death comes, we have to abandon everything, leave everything behind. And then the fourth main theme, when we die, the only thing we can bring along is our karma, that is the imprints or seed energies, the mental energies of our good and bad deeds, and our own personal proclivities, talents, dispositions, interests, and so on. So that is the 10 points in the meditation of death. And now we come to the second part of this last session. In this part, you are going to be imagining yourself on your deathbed as death is taking place. To make it simple and clean, we're imagining a peaceful death, at least in physical terms. And so you're lying on your bed. Maybe some of your relatives are around, sitting around in order to take care of you. And now death is setting in. You feel it as a certainty within your mind. And now what you're going to do is to work on letting go of all these objects of attachment in order to drop quietly and peacefully into the death event. You'll do this in silence without guiding, but what you work on leaving behind is letting go of wealth, possessions, including any position, designation, titles, honors, and so forth. Then letting go of all of your loved ones, and then letting go of the body itself. We continue with this now for about 12 minutes in silence. And now, in the last 2 minutes of this session, you can imagine that as you're dropping into the death process, you call to mind the qualities of the Buddha. And this helps to give maybe a sense of upliftment and consolation during the death process. So you might choose the 3 qualities that you focused on when we did the Buddhanusati meditation, or even just one quality. For example, you might just bring to mind Bhagava, Bhagava, or Buddho, Buddho, just for 1 minute. Or you could do Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Okay, now you drop all conceptualization, mental formulations, and you bring the mind, bring, bring the mindfulness back to the body in the sitting position. And then you can take a couple of mindful breaths, deep breaths in and out. In and out. And then you can relax and mindfully open the eyes and end the session in the way we usually do. Lightly massaging any areas that are stiff and painful or numb to stimulate the circulation. Okay, we got. Oops. Okay, we're going to end the retreat now with the final sharing and dedication of the merits. And first I have a note of the people to be given special thanks. I don't see Venerable Hong Jun here. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we have to thank Venerable Hong Jun, who's the abbess of Zhuangyan Monastery, for looking after all of the organization and coordination of the retreats. And she did so not alone, but with the help of her fellow bhikkhunis. Like, I don't do any preparation. I'm the lazy guy who just comes out on the day of the retreat and does the teaching, but all of the things, laying out the cushions and arranging everything, organizing the meal routine, all of that is the work of the abbess and the nuns. And then I should mention Kaidi Shu, who, she's not here, but she is the one who takes care of the mailings to inform people about the retreat and to give details and so on. And then there's Val Clark. She's not here, but she is the graphic artist who does the design for the Buddhist Association. Then, of course, Jason is always so helpful in thousands of ways. And then we have to mention the volunteers in the kitchen who have been helping out in the kitchen. And they have been coordinated, their work has been coordinated by the co-abbess, Venerable Yong Shin. You might have seen the short nun giving directions to the kitchen staff, to the volunteer cooks. That was Venerable Yong Shin. And the sort of chief cooks are Mr. and Mrs. Joe. Probably, maybe they're still in the kitchen, or did they go home? I don't know. They went home, but we still send our thanks to them. And of course, Mei Hui, she is the regular cook at the monastery. Did I capture everybody? Did I miss anybody? I hope if I've missed anybody, then please forgive me. Okay, so now we're going to do a sharing of our merits. And so through this very rigorous 3-day retreat, what was it, Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4-day retreat. So we think of all of the merits, the light of the merits we've received, we've generated. And now in our minds, imaginatively, we send the light of these merits out upon the world, transforming the minds and hearts of sentient beings, especially the human beings in this world, generating the strong wish that all conflicts and violence in this world will come to an end, that in countries that are experiencing war and violent conflict, that the conflict will be ended. That those in charge of the fossil fuel corporations will realize that the destiny of human civilization now rests in their hands, and that it is their responsibility to promote the transition to a new kind of economy, not dependent on exploiting the resources of the earth. And we generate the wish that people will end their greed, hatred, and ignorance, and develop hearts of generosity, kindness, compassion, and wisdom. And then we can take all of the merits that we've acquired and we will share these merits. You can use the verses that we've been reciting for sharing the merits. I think you all know them by now. Okay, I see them on the screen now. Akasata cha bhumata Devanaga Mehidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Sasanam Akasata cha bhumata Devanaga Mehidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Desanam Akasata cha bhumata Devanaga Mehidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakantu Mang Parang. Dukkha pata chani dukkha Bhaya pata chani bhaya Soka pata chani soka Antu sabepi panino. May those who suffer be free from suffering. May those who fear be free from fear. May those who sorrow be free from sorrow. May all living beings also be thus. We go sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And then we'll end with 3 full formal bows.
First bow. Half bow. Bow to Bande.
Bante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you,
May you be
Bhante.
well.
Thank you,
Bante.
Thank you,
Thank
Bhante.
you.
Bante.
Thank you,
Sadhu.
Bhante.
Thank you very much, Bante.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu,
That's
Bante.
awesome.
So
Okay,
much
so
hard
thank
work.
you all
Thank you,
for
Bhante.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Bhante.
joining.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you all for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
We appreciate all your hard work.
Very much so. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, you can say thank you. Then you show up.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining.
Sadhu, Bante.